7 o'clock.
7 o'clock, 7 p.m. Call the meeting to order with the pledge to the flag.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay. At least it's not April Fool's Day, you know. I heard that Tiger Woods had said he was going to play in the Masters, and then that was in the morning, and then by the afternoon he said April Fool. So that's a pretty good April Fool's joke, because it kind of surprises people, you know, because they were starting to record it, and then all of a sudden he said April Fool. So that's the way that goes. Roll call.
Mark Folks.
Here.
Mark Frazier.
Here.
Francis Griffith. Here. Veronica Howard. Troy Parma. Here.
Veronica's on a well-deserved vacation. So, agenda, any changes to the agenda?
Motion to approve.
Mark, motion to approve. Butch, second. Okay. Hi, John. Hi, John. March 5th
We need to
meeting.
vote on that.
Hmm?
We need to vote.
All in favor of the agenda?
Aye.
Okay. March 5th, you should have an agenda. It's pretty long.
Minutes.
Minutes for last month. March 5th, yeah,
Motion to approve the minutes.
motion approved by Troy, seconded by Butch. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. One thing that Troy helped develop was the mailing and the mail out to the residents of Clifford Fields. And we need to have it's about the lights and how much consumers is charging our township each month for the light bill. So if it's over 10%, we have to.
Let's go ahead and open the hearing.
notify. So
Then I'll open
We're
it
going to
up.
open, what time is it?
7:02.
7:02.
Okay, so we are having a public hearing tonight on the Clifford Fields streetlight special assessment. So under statute, if a special assessment increases by more than 10% in a year, that requires a public hearing. And fortunately, so normally we adjusted a few dollars per lot per year. This past year, it has gone up substantially, and between
70%.
yeah. And so, compared to the beginning of fiscal year 2023 to now, it's gone up almost $100 a month, from $340 a month to $440 a month. So that means that goes from $57 to $70, which is of course more than 10%. So that's why we're having this hearing tonight to do that. You know, the street, as we explained it in the letter there, you know, these are unmetered street lights. They're a set rate by consumers statewide, and they are what they are. So, you know, there's, outside of not having street lights, that's really the...
So what do they pay right now?
They pay $57.
57.
And it'll go up to $70 if we
70.
approve this.
$78 even? Okay.
So we need to open it up for any comments.
Okay, so that's what's dealing with the lights, the light bill at Clifford Fields. Any public comments? Yes.
It's ridiculous. I mean, come on, 170%. Read the letter. That's what it said, wasn't it? 170%?
Well, it's, if you read the back of the letter, it laid out the cost to us. I mean, we don't control the utility rates.
Well, the problem is where's consumers? Is anybody here from consumers? So they can't talk, can they? So we need to move this public hearing to have somebody from consumers to come here so we can chew them out for not taking and doing their due diligence to raise it as needed. It shouldn't go up 107% in 1 year. That's like the price of eggs.
So Clifford Fields would pay $5,200 for the year. That's $5,162. That's what we paid for that small subdivision. Rose Boulevard and Bennett
Oh,
Drive.
they've all gone up.
They're through the roof. And
Because the
we've even-
DDA pays for those, I mean,
Yeah.
we had to amend all the budgets for
Oh,
those.
we,
Yeah.
that's the only place we overspent in our budget all year. And we had
Streetlights.
to make an amendment last month to break even with our budget.
Just so everyone's clear how the streetlights work.
Yeah.
So Clifford Fields is specially assessed to the residents of Clifford Fields, as that was put in when the developer was put in. And then the other streetlights we have in the industrial park on Lansing Road, the DDA pays for. And we don't pay for we don't pay for those out of the general fund. It's just the
And
areas
if
that.
the light's
benefit.
out, we signal that there's a place to.
Yes, no, you should, if a
And-
light's
and
out, you
we-
should report it,
we
because we get
report it.
charged whether they work or
Yeah,
not.
whether they work or not, and so we finally get them fixed, and believe it or not, we had a couple of them hit with cars. Finally, Troy said, Mark, look, we got a $200 some credit. They actually issued us a credit for the lights that had been out for all them months, almost a year. Finally, we couldn't believe it, but we actually did get a credit from consumers on that. But right now, consumers have their hands full. I lost power because a tree fell between me and the road. It was in Dr. Morgan's property, and they were out there when I come home. And I thought, well, how long's it been off? 30 minutes. We'll have you up, Mark, in about 20 minutes. And they did. They did. Of course, I told them who I was.
Can
who I
we
knew
take care of
that
this,
needed
can we take care of this Clifford Fields thing,
They,
Mark?
huh?
Yes,
Can we
thank
take
you.
care of this, please?
Oh,
Thank you.
back, any other comments?
Can I ask a question, Mark?
Beth?
What do we do about Forest Green and Raylan Hills?
They don't have streetlights.
They don't have any streetlights at all in the subdivision. Wow.
Oh, I know.
I guess I've never been there at night.
That's okay. Good question. No, that's a great question. I asked him myself.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know. And he said,
Right.
Mark, there's no lights there. I said, okay.
But all we do is take what the utility charges us and divide it by the number of households, that's
Yeah,
it.
it's,
And-
there's
and
nothing
I understand
complicated
that.
there.
Yeah.
But when it goes up 170%, they should have had some idea it was gonna be going up that much, that fast.
Absolutely, but
And they
that's
should have been doing
consumers.
their due diligence and either putting in solar panels to help defer the cost of the lights, or they should have been doing something to, how could it go up 170%? Not even,
They
pardon?
already asked for another raise.
Oh, yeah, July. They're going to have another raise. They've
Yeah.
already asked.
They already
Once
asked
a
for it,
year.
but They can only have 1 year.
So you understand where I'm coming from.
Yeah,
But there's
It's
nothing we
just,
can do.
I know that, other than get consumers' power here and let us chew them out, one side, up one side, down the other, and then back up again.
Well, I assure you, it's not gonna change the rate, so.
But they need to do something to make it smaller increases besides 170%.
Okay, any other comments? Comments? Going once?
Thank you, that's all I have to say.
Shall the meeting close?
All right, close the public hearing at 7:08.
7:08 p.m. So,
Yeah, we need to make a motion. Make a motion that we approve adjusting the Clifford Field special assessment for the 2025 winter taxes to $70 per lot.
Second.
okay, Troy has made a motion and Butch has seconded that motion to go up to $70 per lot for the winter tax bill. Roll call vote when you're ready, Troy.
Mark Folks.
Yes.
Francis Griffith.
Yes.
Troy Parmley, yes. Mark Frazier.
yes.
Paul Saxton, no.
So, thank you. Okay. Public comments going once. We got a couple of them here. Public comments. Hi, Justin.
Hey, Mark.
How's everything with the SCDP?
Good. I was working on the phone outside.
I know I didn't bother you. I saw you. I heard the noise. I heard the noise. Sheriff's troopers.
There's something about the 170 though, because I was actually at a meeting in Owasso.
Yes.
I was talking with the officials there about a potential water rate increase.
Yes, we talked about that.
And
Yeah.
that's like 170.
$166. Yeah.
No,
Oh.
percent, not dollars.
Oh, 166%.
Yeah.
So
The water
150%.
upgrades at Owasso, so.
Okay, you said sheriff's report. We did, I don't have
I
it.
don't, okay. All right. CISA report, Mark?
Not a whole lot going on from the regular meeting. The biggest thing was we're seeing fantastic increases in insurance.
Insurance.
our liability
Oh,
insurance.
still need, oh, well, wait till after this is over.
Yeah. But we did have to have a special meeting to purchase another ambulance. We currently have 5. We struggle to keep 2 on the road because they're all in the 250,000 mile range. We've got 1 in being re-chassied, which will be a new chassis on that one.
60.
And we have some commitments we've made that we have to have ambulances available for. We had an opportunity to buy one. It's not the box that we normally get, but it's a decent box. And at a price less than $200,000 for a new one, which they're closer to $350 now for a new one. So
The long and the short is, out of 5 ambulances, we've been borrowing one from Lanesburg, and we only could keep 2 on the road
Yeah.
regularly.
And one's waiting at a dealer, at
Yeah,
a repair
right,
shop
right.
for a
So,
part.
and we really need 6
Right.
to have proper backups. So this came about, and it wasn't the desired thing to do, but it was what we had to do, so, to keep everything rolling, so.
just one of those things with the ambulance business. And we're busier with it, so it's,
Yes, our call volume is way up, so.
and we have people knocking on the door wanting us to take their community to do, so.
Okay.
Kind of question, as long as you're changing the chassis, why don't you also change the engine in it, so it goes back to 0 as far as your
Well,
mileage?
when they re-chassis, it's a whole brand-new chassis, engine
Okay,
and
so engine
everything.
and transmission, okay.
Yeah, it's
Just
a.
making sure.
It's
a-
everything but the box.
It's a 2025 truck.
So the
underneath
drivetrain,
it.
everything is.
And they, you know, the box is, we use the same box over 2 or 3 times because that's a way to save a lot of money.
Having worked in the automobile industry, a chassis is one thing, and the engine transmission is another.
Oh, okay.
That's why I
No.
was asking.
Yeah, no, it's a
You know what I'm
complete,
talking about.
it's a complete truck. With, you
It's
know,
it's a cabin chassis.
Right.
That's what they're called,
Okay.
yeah.
Thank you.
Okay,
Is that it?
yes.
Mark? DDA, we meet April 16th, 6:30 here. Zoning,
I didn't get a report.
no report. Commissioner, no commissioner. Mark, back to the library.
Library didn't have a whole lot going on at their meeting. I did give you guys the branch reports, but they talked about the new Byron location. Byron's actually wanting to give them more space over there for the library. They get that built.
Do we need to approve those fees? I'm sure.
I don't have, so.
They're online. Thank you, Mark. All set on that?
Yep.
All right, the I-69 trade corridor, Troy?
No meeting.
None? Okay. All right, SADP.
Nothing really consequential at SCDP, I don't think, was there?
No, not last month, no,
No.
pretty quiet.
And Land Bank and Brownfield is next Monday because this Monday was last month, so.
Oh, okay.
We are, Mark knows this, even though it's not in Perry, it's next door, it looks like we are getting money to rehab or stabilize the Shaftesbury Hotel, for those that know that area, Woodhull Township over there. So that's a nice project. And then we're working through a bunch of light projects. We've got a new housing development working on in Lennon. We're applying for more grants through the land bank for different things. And I think this came up at your meeting last month. I wasn't able to make it. There's some new grant money to help with infrastructure if it leads to housing development. But we might be able to piggyback that on to help with some of our water and sewer needs. They just, actually tomorrow morning, they're doing a webinar to talk about what the details of that program are. It's, grants are up to $400,000 with no match. It could be for water, sewer, roads, parking lots, sidewalks, but the whole thing has gotta be about a house.
Yeah, Sarah was here at the last meeting.
Yeah.
She's been working with Mark and Troy.
Yeah.
Okay. And planning commission.
We didn't meet because we couldn't form a quorum.
Right. All right, right, that's our special meetings. Financial report, Troy, and pay the bills for,
Okay, you have your bills list in front of you. As we always do in this meeting, we have a split list there for things through the end of March, and then a few just for the beginning of April here, since we break our fiscal year there. The budget today you have, that is for the fiscal year as a whole, so last fiscal year. So, let's see what the amendments we made, everything came in check.
okay?
So, other than that, it's not a real busy activity month.
We didn't get any state money, right?
No, not, no.
Okay. There's our bill list. All right. Motion to pay the bills.
Motion.
Mark,
Second.
Butch, second by Butch. All right.
Who made it, Mark?
Mark, and then Butch seconded. All in favor?
No.
Oh, roll call vote. Wait, roll call vote. Okay, I'll say. Okay, Mark? Bridgeport.
Hold on, Mark,
Oh,
I do.
You're not ready? Oh, you're ready.
Okay, all right, Francis Griffith,
Yes.
Troy Parmalee, yes. Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Mark Folks.
Yes. Okay. Correspondence. There was something in there.
Yeah, just 1 second.
Okay.
Mark, clarify, what were you saying about the Byron branch for the library?
Oh, they're gonna give the library more space than it originally was set out in their plans. That's their plan at this point.
You don't hear the furnace running, do you?
Just bear with me, I gotta take the minutes.
Sure, take your time, take your time.
Okay, correspondence. We got a letter from the state regarding building plan reviews. There's been an update to the International Building Code regarding solar panels. And we got a public notice from the Village of Morris. They're updating their TIFA plan and have a hearing next week. So, that was it.
That was it, okay. Okay, correspondence,
That was correspondence.
public comments and announcements, public comments or any announcements?
Looking at the cemetery and how the roads are there, would it be a good idea sometime in the near future to upgrade the cemetery roads?
That's a good point, and it's so good that we already had the Shiawassee County this last month give us a quote on how much that would cost, because part of our, this year in our budget is to do Ellsworth Road. So we're gonna go right in there and take care of that. It's
Well, we're
already-
doing some aprons. We're not
Aprons.
replacing the roads.
But it should help, it should help, the ingress, the in and out of it.
And then, about 15 years ago, we redid all of Clifford Field's roads, and they're breaking down. Don't they ever do anything from the county to repair them, other than just put salt down and plow? I mean, they should do some kind of maintenance on them, I would think.
Well, any of the, if you're talking about like a seal or a seal coat or anything like
Something,
that.
anything.
Well, that's one of those things, if the owners of Clifford Fields
Well,
are
it's split in
interested.
half, yeah, like last time when I did the repaving, we shouldn't have to, though. We made them
Oh,
up
no,
to
it
grades.
gets special, it gets, any subdivision gets specially assessed on that.
So pass
That's
on
how
to the
that,
resident.
I mean, to answer your question, does the road commission like go in and do any preventative paving? The answer to that is no. I mean, like Ellsworth Road's gonna get paved this year, we're paying for that, road commission paid for that.
Right. Quite a bit too, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, the road commission doesn't do that. So, local roads are, they do the routine maintenance and that's it.
So they haven't done any maintenance on it, that's the point.
Well, routine maintenance, snow plowing, stuff like that.
The routine. Any more, the unfinished business?
No,
Just might as well take it back to the dirt road and move it.
Okay, all right. That brings us to the new business, Smith Asphalt Special Use Permit for Rose Boulevard. And just to give you an update, we have received information from Smith Asphalt about adding an asphalt facility in our county, which we don't have one in this Shiawassee County. And we're looking at a special use permit. It was supposed to be heard at their planning commission, but since they didn't meet, we wanted to discuss it here. And it is on Pete Preston, it is on the agenda for the fourth Wednesday.
23rd, fourth Wednesday.
Fourth Wednesday of the month, and it'll be heard. Letters will go out to the neighbors, so they have access to the meeting and can go there. I only have one neighbor wondering about that. And then I met with Travis and his son and his wife. We all went out there 2 weeks ago, Wednesday?
No, last
Week
week.
ago.
Last week.
God,
Last
time
Wednesday.
it's been a tough week, hasn't it? Been a tough week. Last Wednesday we went and viewed the area and made sure that we were all on the same page. And it looks like it's going to be a perfect place. It's a dead-end road. He's got access to a rail, which he's thought, Travis, you thought that would be good. And I think it's a great thing. Do you want to give us a little background, one of you?
Go ahead. Go ahead.
This is actually smooth pavement. Travis.
Who gets paid the big bucks, right, Jim?
You want me to talk?
Go ahead, Justin.
Other than obvious, it's just gonna, we feel it's gonna save the township and the county money, cause, well, to get your asphalt now, you know, the cost you have, getting out of Lansing or Flint area or Mason is right up there. Everything is gonna be here in Shiawassee County. Most of it's gonna be here. We're gonna get our aggregate here in Shiawassee County, maybe Clinton County. The only thing that we're looking forward to doing is, having you guys lift the time frame or the hours of operation on it. Because,
During a certain time of the year.
yeah, we only work half the year. If we get rain in the morning and it puts us off so to where we can't start at noon, we don't know what time we're gonna get done. We're gonna definitely go beyond, your quitting time that you guys would like. If we're gonna get rain in the afternoon, we wanna start earlier in the morning. I mean, typically, we're gonna start around 5 in the morning anyways. And then, as you all know now, with everybody losing their power, the asphalt emulsions or the polymer that we keep there needs to be kept hot. So we're gonna have a generator there. If you lose power, that generator will run to keep the electric coil hot, to keep the emulsions hot. So there's gonna be times when you just can't control that stuff running. But in comparison, like I've talked to you, I think I've talked to a few other people, we can stand on our back porch and hear the train
Oh, yeah, we
in our backyard. We can stand on our back porch and not hear our gravel plant run that's 3/4 of a mile down the road. So noise, I don't feel is gonna be a difference. Odor, you gotta stack, it's gonna put the odor way up where it should be non-nuisance. So,
Now Shirley, this unit that you're looking at, the unit you're looking at, it's more of a self-contained unit, isn't it?
yeah.
Yeah.
Comes in on a,
You mean it comes like all together?
yeah,
Yes.
all together. It's not.
It comes with a-
something built, it's actually pre-manufactured unit.
It comes with a bag house filter on it to filters all of your,
Okay.
you know, your smoke and your dust and stuff from the plant. A lot of the material gets run through, it's a washed product to keep the dust down. And that's about it that we could say, but hours of operation are definitely a concern for us, because, I mean, when I work half the year and gotta make hay while the sun shines, and we can't control the weather, so that's
That
kind
was
of,
a concern by one of the planning commission members that called me, was ours.
yeah, we definitely
And he
would,
was also concerned about, any kind of he wanted to see some kind of bond if you guys just picked the thing up and left a mess. But you're buying the property, correct?
right.
Yeah.
So I don't see that as an issue. I don't know, whether Beth or Wald have anything to say about that.
Just a question, how high is the smokestack? Or the,
That'll be determined by the state. When we get our air quality permit, the state will determine it.
any
And then-
idea how close, approximate?
Oh, probably, if I had to guess, probably 60 foot, 80 foot, something like that.
And then one other member called me and he felt there might be a need for a security fence, and I not sure I see that.
I'm sorry, what?
Security fence.
Security fence around the whole thing, and I thought,
Well, not around the whole property, but we're definitely gonna, we want to secure too. So we're, whatever we come up with, we want to come up with something for security, because we don't want nobody back in there now. We got people going back in there now, so we got to fence off certain areas of it for sure. But just not everybody's gonna be able to drive back there. You got swamp, covering a third of it, where nobody's gonna be able to drive through. You got wood screening, and then
Train tracks.
the train tracks, so it's not really, I mean, a thief is gonna get in no matter what, what kind of fence you put in. But we definitely wanna minimize all that stuff too, so.
I don't know.
I guess my question would be, Travis, what hours do you think would be reasonable for what you want to do?
Oh, boy, we can't really say because, some of the road work, people wanna do at night. So we can't predict when you're gonna get that road work. It's like, places of business around here, like a bank, you're not gonna be able to work during the week because they don't want to chase their customers away, or a grocery store or anything like that. So they're gonna want you to work either weekend or they're gonna want you to work in the evening when you do that. So I can't predict what hours it would be.
Are you suggesting that there be no limitation on hours?
That's what we would like.
Does the zoning ordinance speak?
It does.
It speaks to it.
So,
Yeah, we looked at that.
the Part D under performance standards is the hours of operation shall be set by the planning commission after consideration of the surrounding land uses and the particular traffic patterns on public haul routes in the area. The maximum range for hours is Monday through Saturday, 7 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. and shall be prohibited on legal holidays and Sundays. The zoning administrator may provide temporary exemptions from hours of operation for an operator who must repair equipment or for public emergencies. So that's what the ordinance says. Now, when the county does the special use permit, they can,
Put anything they want?
well, it's gonna be tricky to differ from that hugely, right? Because it gives the zoning administrator some exemptions, but it's, the ordinance, that's what the ordinance says, right? So, but that's something the county planning commission, a special use permit, the county planning commission has a lot of discretion in.
Have you ever run a plant like this before?
Not personally, I've never run a plant like that, but I've been around it forever, I've never owned.
Right, never owned one.
Yeah.
I guess, would 9 or 10 o'clock be reasonable, or are we talking 2 a.m., or, what are we talking about?
9 or 10 o'clock at night.
Yeah. I'm
Well,
just
highly unlikely, but
I think where he's going is if you get a big job for a highway, for
Right,
example,
they're
right?
working
They
during
do
the
that
night.
at night,
Yeah.
right? They start at 9 o'clock at night and do it,
Right.
all night long.
Like when they.
How that works in,
5 years ago, they worked all night.
Right.
Travis,
Or
what do
even
they,
69
what do these
would-
places in Flynn and Lansing do now, whenever they need the product?
what do they do
Whenever the
now?
companies need, the pavers need the product, are they open?
Yes.
They just stay open?
Yeah, they work. But they're on a way bigger scale than what we are. They're 7 days a week, those guys go. And, we've seen them, we work night and day for them, work all day and then take a nap and go back to work again at 9 o'clock at night. But, we're in no position right now to be out bidding highway work. This is just getting it going. My biggest concern now is, like, say, the commercial properties, the banks, the grocery stores. There's a bunch of commercial properties like that where you just can't get in there and pave in a day because they're gonna lose a day or two's worth of business. So you gotta do it in the evening or on a weekend. And I don't like working weekends anymore, so I'd rather work at night than on the weekend.
Well, that makes sense.
It's cooler. And then the other thing is too, is the weather. I'm starting to, not considering a big deal, but the rain's starting to push us back now,
Yeah.
getting jobs. So if we get to the point where we can't even say this was up and running, and we get to the point where we can't start nothing until May, middle of May, because we gotta wait for the excavator operators to prep everything, so if we can't start putting down asphalt till May, well, it's gonna shut our season. We usually shut down November 15th, is when we shut down. So it just gets too cold to do anything then. So,
Any more questions from Mark, Rich?
Just a comment, Mark.
Yes.
Yeah, I think, most of the stuff that's said, I mean, the process has been pretty good so far. This whole thing kind of started talking with Travis and Shirley, Mark. We sat down with Pete Preston, we laid it all out, we had very clear expectations. Sorry, let's turn the camera. And so I think it's gone fairly smoothly up to this point at the county level. So, obviously, said, we need something like this. We have nothing in Shiawassee County. So this, obviously, I think would help, once again, not only our businesses, but some of our road projects, so we don't have to bring it in from Lansing or Flint. We're keeping money in the community, basically. These are good people. They're decent people. They live locally. They've invested in the community. They support things. This is not some big out-of-town group. We know they're committed here. They want to do good work. They want to be good neighbors. And I think ultimately, though, I mean, these are, where do you site plants like this, right? This is a good spot. I mean, it's basically at the end of a dead end of a current industrial park that's backed up by a highly trafficked rail line. I don't know how much more you could get isolated from residential, neighborhood. It's a perfect spot,
It's zoned for it, it's planned for it.
Everything, and the reason I bring that up is, and I don't know if the township board wants to make a recommendation or not on ours, but I agree, as much flexibility as they could have in operating as needed, that certainly would be helpful.
Well, the problem wouldn't be currently.
Yeah,
The problem would be if at some point you guys sold it to a different company or whatever, and it would be how they may interpret the use of the hours. That would be where there could be a hiccup, if you know what I'm saying. I mean, it's easy to trust somebody that's a good person, that's a resident basically, that,
right.
that knows what their neighbors are like and tries to be a good neighbor, but that doesn't mean that a big company that comes in that has no ties to the community would try to exploit that,
Right. Well, we would do night work now, we buy up Lansing, so the shoes on the other foot too. I mean, we count on them people to be open.
Sure,
So we can.
sure. And I'm not saying I'm opposed to it, I'm just saying this is the real question.
Yes. Yeah.
Is
No,
how do you safeguard down the road?
Right. Yeah, we want to be a good neighbor. It's, like I've stated before, we're not somebody, the board here has a problem or a resident has a problem, they're gonna call us. They go and they call Spartan Asphalt while their parent company's in Switzerland. They're gonna be, right? Or if they even get a hold of anybody at all. Redrive, they're owned in Goshen, Indiana,
Right.
So, but I understand what you're saying. If we were ever to sell you, it's who you'd be dealing with, I get it, but I wouldn't be going through this to sell, but.
Well,
you
no,
take
but
it.
things change.
Right.
20 years down the road, you still gonna be around there?
I'm sorry, what?
Got him right
Yeah,
now.
right here.
is there a way, Troy might, well, many of you might know this, but is there a way that on a case-by-case basis to get hey, I know this job's coming in 2 weeks, I can get a temporary?
Well, it says in there, the zoning administrator has discretion.
Okay.
That sounds like it's gonna be almost, particularly with the weather side of the problem.
Sure.
That's where the problem would be for them.
And of course, you commented, we don't have one of these, and of course, that's, the ordinance is unique to the county, and there isn't one.
Yeah.
So let me just real quick, I will quickly skim through. It says asphalt and concrete batching facilities are permitted by special use permit in the M1 and M2 zoning districts, which that works fine, because this is zoned, zoned M1 for there. Routes of supply vehicles or material handling vehicles shall be arranged such to minimize nuisances or hazards to existing neighborhoods or commercial businesses. There's no existing neighborhood, it's at the back of an industrial park.
It's one way in, one way out on a
Right.
Class A road, that's what you want.
Right, yeah, so. Ingress and egress to the facility shall be from a paved major thoroughfare, so no gravel roads. And the planning commission may approve access to an unpaved road or county local road after receiving a recommendation from the county road commission if the planning commission finds that such access will further minimize impacts on other properties. Again, it's in an industrial park, so which is where it belongs. That's regarding temporary facility. It says it shall not be located any closer than 500 feet from a residential platted subdivision. It's not. It shall not be located any closer than 500 feet to an existing dwelling. It's not. Has to comply with the buffering requirements in the ordinance, which is, gonna lay out, distances and everything else. Performance standards, no noise, dust, or fumes from the operation shall be discernible at any point beyond the lot line. Adequate measures will be taken to prevent lights, drainage, and traffic from creating a nuisance on adjacent properties. The materials shall be stored in a neat and orderly manner to prevent debris from leaving the area. The hours of operation, which we already talked about, and then that's if it's temporary, then the facility shall comply with all environmental protection standards of this ordinance and with all water and air quality requirements of the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality. I mean, everything checks out. The question's gonna be with the hours, and it's really the county planning commission has discretion in that,
What
and
about
do
if they were required, and it's not as bad as it sounds, to have a log of when they have to do special hours and why? So that if the question came up, or somebody had a big problem with it, it would be there to look at to say, oh, well, this was.
Again, the county planning commission is the one that will decide that. I mean, they would have that say. I mean, they have a lot of discretion in things. I mean, there's been all kinds of unique situations, right? Where, I mean, that's the point of a special use permit, because it's special, right? I mean, that's by the very definition. If it was allowed by right, you just meet the standards and it's done. But a special use permit gets that extra check on it.
So we really don't.
So we can make any recommendation we want. So, I mean, obviously, our role in this is to make a recommendation to the county planning commission. It was to go in front of our planning commission originally at the meeting, but they didn't have a quorum, so, and then the recommendation they made would come to us, but since they didn't have a meeting, we're handling all
Well, the
that.
only place we got a problem is with the hours.
Is with the hours. And so our options are, we can make a suggestion, we can make no suggestion, we can say it up to them, we can just note that there's a concern on the hours and ask for, flexibility, or it's up to us what we want to suggest.
Or a waiver, or whatever you call it. Let's say he's got 3 big jobs in the month of August.
I mean, I would think it would be difficult to just say it'll be allowed 24/7. That isn't gonna fly. That is gonna fly. But some sort of leniency in there, whether it be on certain occasions or whatever it is.
Because if we can't start the plant, or we can't start anything till 7:30, by the time you do all your checking of your equipment and everything, you're realistically not gonna be able to start making this for at least an hour after 7:30.
And maybe it's a load time
Right.
in there or something like that. I mean, something to give as much flexibility in there as possible is what I would suggest.
Travis, I don't know if we could get a hold of one of these other outfits and see what they have done with their local ordinance. No, possibly.
There's no,
And
they
maybe-
don't have nothing.
Well, I mean,
Get a different
like
view on what they've
Reith
done.
Riley's right out on the west side, so
Right.
I'm sure Delta Township has something,
But I mean, yeah, because Reed Riley, before they come back, they were back there in the late 60s on the west side. And then they bought Capital Asphalt, and I don't know when Capital Asphalt started. But Larry Albert started Smart Asphalt back in the early sixties, mid-sixties. So I don't know, and that's all been grandfathered in, so I don't know what they would have. Just
Well, like any business, it's gonna grow. So, you know, the first year, maybe first year and a half, it may not be as busy as the next year or the next.
Right.
Once
Right.
people know you're there, it's gonna obviously increase, you know.
Right.
Well, I think what we're really in the end saying is that you know what you're gonna have to have a solution for to deal with when you get to the county planning commission.
Right.
I mean, this is gonna be your challenge, is being able to offer some way to make this work for everybody.
Right.
Because if you just walk in there and say, well, geez, I need more hours, or, you know, that's not gonna, yeah, you know, it's like whenever you've had a boss that told you, don't bring me problems unless you bring me a solution at the same time. So,
Well, it seems to me that Mark's idea might not be a bad one. Let's say that what they said was they want to be able to operate from 6 a.m. to midnight, which probably is kind of what you're talking about.
I'd rather be earlier in the morning than
Okay,
later.
5 a.m. to 11.
Yeah. Yes, yeah.
But to go beyond 8 o'clock at night or something, you got to keep a log and justify it, something like that. I think that log idea is not a bad
Not a
idea.
bad
Yeah, that
idea.
sounds-
So that the public would
That
then
sounds
know that
reasonable.
there was a real reason, you know, if a
Right.
question came up.
Yeah, that sounds
Something
reasonable
like
too.
that.
But like you say, at the current hours of operation, if we can't start making material until
You know, 9,
like
10 o'clock.
9
Yeah,
o'clock,
yeah.
and then you gotta shut the plant down by 3, so you can get all the mixture made out by 6 or 7 at night.
Right.
You're talking a 6-hour day, you're not gonna,
Right.
you're not even gonna be, they ain't even worth that.
well, just prepare yourself.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think what Mark says is right, you need to have some sort of a suggestion,
Have
so
a
that they
plan.
can work with it.
right.
I would say that we shouldn't give any recommendation
On what?
on
Hours.
hours or
Service.
anything. I think we should just say, well, I don't know how to say it.
Then we make
I guess my thought is
Move forward.
to suggest that they, you know, give leniency for the, you know, peak periods with, you know, some sort of system to be worked out between the applicant and the.
Peak
and the
periods
zoning.
and weather,
Yeah.
yeah. Okay,
So-
I'd make a motion that we recommend to the county planning commission that this be approved with a procedure to account for special needs and weather for hours. Or however you want to write that.
So let me write it, I'll read it.
special needs, special,
Circumstances
what's
to
the word?
extend the hours.
Circumstances. Circumstances. During,
Peak
high
seasons?
impact hours, high impact
Peak seasons? Peak seasons.
peak season, yeah,
Well, peak season is summer, I assume.
Mm-hmm.
yep, right.
Summer.
Okay, Mark's made a motion.
Hold on, let me read it back,
You're gonna
just a
read it
second.
before we second it. Sure.
Okay.
Our clerk
So-
is in Florida, so let's see if Florida's-
So, Mark made a motion to recommend approval of the special use permit with a procedure to accommodate hours, to adjust the hours for circumstances and weather conditions to be worked out between the applicant and the zoning administrator.
That sounds good.
You'll
Butch
second that,
seconded.
Butch?
Yes.
Any other comments? Shirley?
Thank you.
No?
All right, Troy Parmalee, yes. Mark Foltz.
Yes.
Mark Frazier.
Yes.
Francis Griffith.
Okay. Excellent. Okay, thank you.
So what we'll do is we'll put together a recommendation and send up there, and I don't know if, were you planning on going to?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So Mark will go there and just, but I would, if I were you, I'd have a plan of, say, well, here's what we'd like to propose for the hours. That way, they can look at it and say yes or no instead of,
And
coming up with
Bring
something.
it out of the
So,
And I'll get a hold of Eagle and see if they've got some kind of a shelf thing that they've used for for companies that are starting asphalt plants on hours and things that they probably got some words they've used too, and that may help. But, yeah, okay, good, Troy.
okay. You guys have any other
Thank you,
questions or
thank you,
anything?
thank you. Okay.
Thank you.
Oh, thanks a lot.
Yes. Good luck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So,
I mean, again, we talked about this when you applied. This is a perfect spot for this, so. Makes
And
tons and tons of sense.
and number one son will be there most all the time, right?
Number one and only.
I know, number one is important.
Slaving away.
That's right. Good. You've probably
Hire
heard
more
him talk a
people
lot
now.
about it, haven't you?
What's that?
You've probably heard him talk a lot about it, haven't you?
Oh, yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah.
Okay,
Very good. Approve sexton to spray brush
I'm not
kill
sure what
on
this
south
was.
back line of the cemetery.
I didn't have a
Some-
price or anything
Something
on
got
it, so,
infected and.
Well, without a price, we can't approve
yeah,
it.
so I just take
Delay,
that.
table, okay, sorry about that, I don't have anything either on that. All right, well, we've had a couple meetings where the planning commission have been out of state or sick or could not attend. To my knowledge, I think maybe October, 1 month, we didn't have anything on the agenda, so we didn't have that meeting. But the rest of the last 2 months, we had things moving, and I know Mark, we talked about it, Beth, we talked about it. It's just a situation that we don't have a quorum. And a quorum is at least half or 1 over half. Four. And so it's a problem, and that's why we had to do this here, which is fine, but that's not our job. I mean, it's our job, but we'd rather have a planning commission meet.
We'd rather have the details hashed out at the planning
And
commission.
not have to deal with it like this. So, I mean, this was fine, but on every detail, we can't do this.
Well, the real question is,
But
if we
there's-
go on to doing our own zoning, we can't be running into no quorums,
And I understand sickness happens, medical conditions happen, things happen that you gotta be somewhere else. I understand all of that, but it's been an issue. We just kinda wanna talk about it during the board meeting here, Beth, do you have any thoughts on your?
Not really, except, we gotta
You're
figure
like
it
the
out.
assistant,
I
you're like
don't
the
know.
second in
I
command.
guess I should have done this and I didn't, but looking at the Planning Enabling Act, are we stuck at 7 members?
Are we stuck at 7?
No, I think we can have between 5 and 9.
5 and
So I
7?
wonder if, I know this is gonna sound silly, but maybe 9 would make some sense.
It may, and we all know, right now, we're supposed to have somebody that deals with real estate, commercial,
On the board.
on the board right now, and we don't have that, so we're missing one person,
Right.
and there could be others.
I'm just saying that, usually 9-member committees, getting 5 out of 9 is usually a
The
no-brainer.
challenge is.
5 out of 9 is easier than 4 out of
4 out of
7.
7, yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
The challenge has been is getting the people to fill all the seats on the planning commission.
Yes, I realize that.
And if
Finding
you've got
more
a
bodies
permanent
isn't
seat
easy.
open, now you're having a challenge to the
Yeah,
quorum.
that's true that. But
So
that was
we've
one
gotta,
thought.
we've gotta really talk, we've gotta think about that one.
Yeah,
Do you have to be a resident of the township?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's not like the DDA,
no,
where you can be a business owner but not a resident,
Right.
They
okay,
have to be a resident.
you have to
alright.
do that.
okay,
Uh,
so.
I talked to Beth about it, and we asked if we could get an idea about how our attendance has been over the last year, and I asked her, and she wrote me a detailed sheet about it, and we actually had, on the June meeting, June 20th, 2024, 3 members were not there, 2 members not there on July 18th, 2 members not there on December 19th, 2024, 2 members missing on the January 16th, and of course 4 members on February, 4 members in March. So we've had
In October, we didn't have
in
it.
October, we didn't.
We
because
didn't,
we called-
October is because there wasn't.
She called
There wasn't anything on the
There
agenda.
wasn't anything on the agenda.
Nothing on the agenda. So it really, thank you for helping with that, Beth, you know. So,
I mean, the problem is somebody's been gone every month.
yeah. Now, the chairman, is he okay? I mean, he has been.
He's
ill.
home,
He's home now, okay.
he's home, the doctor told him not to come to this tonight.
Okay. Oh, because you usually will bring him.
Yeah, he called me.
So anyway,
Well, I guess we can clarify. I know it's between 5 and 9. I don't know if there's a population threshold
Yeah.
in there, so we can check on that.
Okay.
And we may have to have a discussion with some of our chronic absentees. I mean, we have a couple of them that have violated the bylaws, technically.
Well,
you know.
and we've had one that we've let go for years just because
Right.
it was doable.
Well, we weren't that busy.
Right. and
Right.
it's
The
because he goes
trick
to
is
Florida,
if
so-
we do our own zoning, this has
Right.
to be much more
Right,
serious.
right.
you know.
The other issue, though, if we could increase the number, I realize the population issue there, but, you know, I took the course on the Citizen Planner course that Michigan State offers, which is really, really good. I recommend it to everybody. But they really make a big deal about conflicts of interest.
okay.
And a little bit larger commission would give you enough people that wouldn't have a potential conflict, I think, and given rezoning.
That could make sense, yeah.
So I just mentioned that.
Okay.
We're looking at redoing our bylaws to take in that language, because they really say, I mean, this is where planning commissions and zoning boards get into trouble, is that conflict of interest issue.
Well, this isn't a one meeting
No,
possible solution to this problem.
No.
We've got to,
but we
we've
need
got
to
to
figure
work
it
on
out,
this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's, does it look, are we looking better for the month of April? We're not sure.
I plan on being there.
I'm pretty sure it could be.
I even missed one of the meetings, I missed, and then you were the only one that actually were available for every meeting.
Yeah, Mark is our recording secretary.
So I take notes, that's
With terrible legs.
if I can hear them, I take notes. Right, Mark?
Okay, can we keep going?
Planning commission attendance, okay, any other comments?
So we'll table that, we'll get some more information about
Okay.
the expansion
Thank you.
and,
Okay.
you know,
Yeah, yeah. We added one item, we have one item that's the last, culvert replacement on a 60-inch on Church Road between Morris Road and 52. That's not that's the paved road, not the gravel road. And I went there with Sean, the road commission, and what we basically have is a culvert that's 60 inches and it's all broken up on top. It's actually got part of the roads caved in. He's had to repair it twice. It looks like a third time it's going to, so we need to get rid of that. They'll do the labor, it's free. We have to pay for just the pipe only. 60-inch pipe, how long is it? Troy, how long is it?
70 feet.
70 feet long, 91 per foot, so $6,436. And then there's a split coupler on it, that's a 60-inch split coupler, $273 even. So I need the.
So this
board-
came up because we're, of course,
After-
with the Morris Road project, we're paving that little piece of Church Road, and that culvert was not gonna make it, and they replaced the small culverts, but the larger ones get shoved on us. If you remember, we had the same thing on Lock Road, when we paved that a couple, 3 years ago.
Oh, we had the same
So-
thing on Miller.
Correct, we get stuck with the big ones.
So we had Brad do the quotation.
So how much do we need?
$6,709.50.
So,
Not to exceed $6,800.
It's pretty exact.
$6,709.50. Want to make a motion for that exact amount? Mark?
Sure.
Okay. Butch, would you second that?
Yeah.
All right, I'll fax this to him tonight.
how about we vote on it first?
Let's vote. Go ahead.
Mark Frazier,
Yes.
Mark Folks.
Yes.
Francis Griffin.
Yes.
Troy Parmalee, yes.
And let's go back one, because our commissioner has, I know he's busy, he probably was at the Township of Woodhall today. Can you speak a little bit about what's happening in the county?
Well, after the storm Sunday, I took it upon myself to go around both Perry and Woodhull Townships to ensure that the roads were cleared. There was just a few trees that I found and cut and moved off the road. But the road commission, I believe, handled most of the bigger stuff. especially on paved roads. Last month's meeting for the GLS 5, they elected me for the vice chair position and kept the other members.
They aren't having that school all weekend, also, have they? I mean, hit pretty hard there, I think.
Wausau, Corona.
And
Well, they're on spring break.
They're on spring break.
Oh, they're on spring break, that's
Yeah.
why.
This
Why are
week,
they
yeah.
saying this?
Their power is
Well,
out
it
now.
was their daycare was closed.
Oh,
in August.
okay, that's part of it, okay.
That's why you saw it scrolling at the
I
bottom.
like this beer, I thought Wausau, but none of them.
Well, they're all on spring
Was
break.
Waveson on spring break?
No, they were
Because
the
we did have a
last.
tornado in Waveson, and it went on Lovejoy Road, so it hit our southern, you probably saw that, didn't you? It hit our southern area. A small tornado.
Yes,
EF1,
yeah.
EF1.
Well, that's why, Trent Atkins, our emergency manager, who's also our chief at CISA, we had our special meeting Monday night, and they had concluded it was an F1 south of Lovejoy Road, but they hadn't ruled on, keep in mind, it crosses National Weather Service jurisdictions between Hingham and Shiawassee, so
I didn't know that.
the tornado may have changed when it crossed Lovejoy Road. They had not ruled on it yet.
Oh, okay.
Because they knew about that boundary.
Yeah, knew about that boundary.
I'm trying to skirt the issue.
If you go up to Corona, you'll notice quite a difference in McCurdy Park. I guess a couple of big trees.
Oh,
were taken
yeah,
out.
Yeah, I was there.
Oh, is it? Okay.
Big
I haven't-
trees.
I haven't been out much.
Shasburg lost a couple of big trees, one in the cemetery damaged a few vegetables.
Okay.
I got that cleared up.
I tell you, I feel bad for the people with the ice up north. That just really tore havoc.
Yeah, that was bad.
Well, our neighbor lost his barn for the third time. 3 different tornadoes.
So,
Well, you know, your newish contractor in the Township Industrial Park, that's kind of their bread and butter business. EB Electric, that's
Oh,
what
the
they
electric
do.
company.
They get on the road and this is what they do. They're traveling right now, working these jobs all over the country, repairing electrical lines.
All right,
okay.
anything else?
Anything else? Any more public comments? Yes, John.
I see the culvert on here just brought to my mind that on Winnegar Road between M52 and Morris Road,
Okay.
there's a culvert there that probably should be inspected because I've seen like a little sinkhole starting to appear in the road right above it.
Okay. Okay. Going east, right?
Yes, between 52 and Morris Road.
Yeah. All right.
Motion to adjourn.
Mark, okay. Mark, seconded by Butch. What time is it? Roughly?
7:57.
7:57. Okay, everybody get home before the bad storm starts.
Hopefully we're good.